So I have an extra
Whose background? As a diary of that.
one thing that is one page here.
There's a diary.
Yeah, you can put the diary.
No, this is the final. It was a diary.
I will have an extra pen and give it.
Give me those pages.
Do you have a pen?
No, that's
I saw that and I was scared of it's that event.
Yeah. Do one.
Okay, I have some colorful pen if you're not embarrassed. Right.
Carry a purple pens.
So yeah, 8% of 35 million, which is roughly say 3 mil, is the number of jobs that come in the retail sector. And by 2030, I think this research states that there will be 25 million jobs that I think retail is going to create. 2030 by 2030. And
so from 3 million it goes to 25 million. Right?
in the next 8 years.
That's some growth we expect.
Yeah, this is 2020 data, 35 million, and 10 years this will go to that level. So I think we'll have a lot of work that needs to be done to keep employees engaged. Yeah.
Hi. Richa. Part of HCM. How's it, Anita?
Hi.
Anjali.
Hi, Seema. Let's start. Nishi from Wellness.
Hi, Kanchan from Manyavar Mohan.
Hi. Haneesh from Apollo Pharmacy.
Good to see you. I'm from Darwinbox.
This is my colleague, Hitain.
Hi.
Hitain is our IT expert.
Great. So you brought him to address all the HR tech questions.
Yeah,
So whatever Rudra says, we have a counter.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying much actually. I'm just going to try and get all opinions from you guys.
Sure.
I'm just a meager facilitator.
Oh, so that's quite growth that you're expecting.
Yes,
If it's
that's
goes
what I
from 3
think.
million to 25 million.
Yeah. So we were just saying that in 2020, retail contributed 8% of the 35 million workforce. Yes.
Which year?
2020 to 2030. So 2030, they're saying that retail is going to add 25 million jobs from 3 million. Right. So that's, I think, the growth. And with such growth, I think what I was reading in one of the articles that Gartner was mentioning that it basically means a total experience strategy. The total experience strategy, what they are calling is basically a mixture of customer and employee, where the employee is as engaged as the customer in your brands. Right, so this total experience strategy that they are talking about should come across as a multiple experience across all digital and offline forms. So, which is what I think most of you guys are doing right now, making a omni-channel strategy. You're making that experience seamless for people, especially I think Seema and I, we were just catching up. She's going to talk about one of the things that Lenskart is doing these days in terms of making those strategies. So, Seema, if you want to add.
Yeah, sure. So I think the entire COVID piece has really taught us how to get to consumers at home, right? And I think everybody is trying to do all of those initiatives. I think one channel that has really scaled up for us is one of home try-on, which is basically that we have trained optometrists who go to, who visit the home of the customer, along with a machine that's actually given to them. It's portable, and they also have an entire box which contains a set of frames and lenses that they can take and have the customer choose at home. So that's a channel that has really paced up, and so that's the discussion that Rudra and I are having, that while we used to think that it's that COVID is restricting us in many forms and ways, and a lot of sales. We saw that everyone experimented with different ways to get the customer. I think this was one that has really picked up, and it has scaled so much more because people are very comfortable getting the same services that they'll get waiting at a store. So they're it's really scaling up well for us.
Yeah, to add that, if it's
Yeah,
okay.
please.
So, I mean, something like messaging the customers when new merchandise comes or the new season is launched was very common in retail, right? Till COVID happens and actual video calls were happening for customers where they could view the entire store. They could select some merchandise. That merchandise could go to their residence and they could pick up merchandise from there. So that was the level of transition that we saw in terms of the customer experience. So totally connect with what you said.
Yeah, absolutely.
So sorry to pause here. We wanted to introduce everybody first.
We've already done that.
So I just wanted to ask, do you want the formality to be done or
I
not?
think we're good. We're
No,
well.
no,
It's okay.
no, we are in the middle of
Yeah, I realize that. That's all right. Please resume. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I recollect the days when we had this COVID and started Apollo 24/7. So what we have realized is customers need both the options. It's not that they'll only purchase in online and they'll not come offline. So they want to be given a choice. So as of now, as I said in my morning speak, it's one that we have 6.5 lakh customers walking into our stores, and 20,000 is online. So they come online and offline. So what I meant is, the customer should be given the choice whether they want to come to store and experience,
Correct.
or they want to kind of they don't have time and then they.
It's actually as per their convenience.
Ah.
Omnichannel is
So-
the way ahead. I think
So
there's
yeah,
no doubt about
brick and mortar will remain.
Correct.
So that will
Yes.
obviously remain.
Correct.
And I think
the touch and feel
Ah.
of products is
But
something
that
always.
whole transition of making it a need-based, it's become an experience-based.
Experience
So there was a
based.
very recent McKinsey study that was presented, and it said that now retail is heading towards being a therapy for a customer. So people actually look forward that we will go to the mall and do something. It's
Yeah.
not that you need something and that's why you're going to the mall. So hence our whole experience for the customer has to go through a transition too. I think very similarly to what
correct.
everything else.
Everything else. And I think this is what everyone is saying, that this has to be very well entrenched with the employee experience as well. So it has to be like a cross between the employee, because the employee is going to the customer right now, and the employee has to have the same fervor with which he or she is showing maybe spectacles or taking the medicines or showing new garment that is getting launched. So with that, my question, maybe Kanchan, you suggested that you wanted to speak on this. How do you actually keep the cultural fabric of the organization going in such a situation? And what are some of the things that you are doing in Vedant Fashions?
So, when I read your question, I think the question number one, I think that was right, and it was so close to my heart because I thought that we do it every day in and out in our work in the entire organization. So, the culture of the organization starts with a word called parivar. So that's family. So that is one thing which either this relationship we maintain with our employees, we extend it to our partners, our channel partners who do business for us. We in fact go up to the last mile to have this relationship with them, people or businesses which we have acquired. So this is a very strong culture which is imbibed in the entire organization. We also talk about this relationship when we induct our employees in the organization. So, for example, if I have to talk about how it is driven from the top till the last milestone. So, the founder of our organization was Mr. Ravi Modi. The entire organization calls him Bhaiya, right? So that's how he is addressed. So it gives me goosebumps, when I talk about it. It is really the culture you come and see. So we onboarded the management trainees from best of the campuses from across the industry from across the country. And when they came into the organization, and the last feedback or the survey which we had when they were moving out, so they say that we could relate what was given in the induction. It was just not for the heck of saying. We could actually feel that in the entire organization. So I thought that was the biggest message which we got from them in return when the trainees moved back to their respective colleges. So that was one example I really wanted to state. So we are franchisee owned and franchisee operated. So we run on FOFO model mostly. So our franchisee partners, we have our stores across. So you can visit any of our stores. The employees working there or the owners of those outlets, you will find a similar culture there as well. So we train. So this is the connect we have. Constant training on our values, constant training on the customer experience and the parivar culture. So that is what you will find in the entire family. So hence I thought that I would take up that question to answer you that how we run it across end to end.
Thank you, Kanchan. Vishi, you would like to add something on this?
Yeah, because the way you said that it's a FOFO, for us it's like completely a COCO model, and we have just started with the FOFO model, and now we are actually realizing that it's a little difficult to till the time you had your own store, so 300 COCOs, and now that you're expanding into FOFO, it's a real challenge that how you will actually ensure that the same cultural thread is run across those stores also, because for customer it doesn't make any difference, right? Whether it is a COCO or it's a FOFO. For the customer, it's a store, it's a brand.
Yeah.
And how you are going to get the similar experience. In fact, yes, we use a lot of activities, and we being again 24/7 pharma retail company. We were throughout the pandemic also, we were open, and now also it's like 24/7. So it becomes little challenging when you have to maintain the motivation level of those employees and ensure that they are part of every cultural event. Because at times the people who are working in the night shifts, they have those that I couldn't be a part of the celebration, but then we ensure that they are also getting actually getting to celebrate those events, or they are part of those events. We ensure that. We have a very beautiful app, employee app, wherein we actually ask these people that in your store you celebrate these events and share your videos on the app. And what happens is that that's the way they are able to see that what's happening in other stores also, and they feel good that okay, yes, we all are one family, and it's not that though we are working out of different outlets and different geographies, we are one family. So,
just adding on to what she said, we also leverage the platform of tech. So we have a portal, we call it Sansar. So that has got access to to all the external partners also. So any grievance, any issues, any thing, so they can upload on that, and we do a survey on that. So it's a fantastic portal which gives us an end-to-end details about what is happening at our stores. So it keeps us connected also. Any feedback we are being able to address, and they can see. It also helps us to run our supply chain completely, the model also. So that works with us as well. So that also helps us to keep a connect with them.
Thank you, Nishi, Kanchan. Seema, if I were to ask you, for the folks who are right now out there for your frontline staff, how are you ensuring their employee satisfaction levels? Because there are a lot of things that they're doing. And what are some of the measures that you are doing to tackle the levels of dissatisfaction if they come?
Okay, so I think we've been using the Infido platform very actively. So there's this Amber chatbot.
How is it going?
Very effective. In fact, I think we wake up to, in the morning we have like, okay, 3 people are on red alert, 4 are on yellow. So, these are typically feeders. It's an engagement.
So it's sentiment analysis.
Okay, it is similar to
Captures the pulse basically.
Lina AI.
Yeah. So,
Actually, slightly different. Lina AI is more a task bot,
correct.
and this is more sentiment
Sentiment.
analysis and
How you
employee
feel
engagement.
today.
Yeah.
Right.
We are
It's a
So it's
sentiment
mood
analysis.
based, it's mood based,
Mood
based.
based.
Yeah. And it's more, sorry, you're saying something?
Infido.
Yeah. So I think that's something that we use very actively, and we also encourage our employees to feed into it actively.
What is the percentage utilization? How much people do?
It's got a good rate of utilization. It has about 60 to 65% utilization, which is huge.
65%.
And that utilization was very low in our offline staff, but we've actually now ramped up. That because people have started to realize that we are hearing them. So if they are putting in something and they're getting a call in the next 1 to 2 working days, then they know that somebody is hearing us, and so we're getting it through. So that's the piece that we've really strung in well in the past couple of months, I would say, which has actually increased the adoption of the system itself. So I think that's one platform which we use very actively, which is more like an informal thing. We also run monthly voice surveys, which is basically that there are a set of standard 6 to 8 questions that we have on parameters on work-life balance, on how you're feeling, what are your issues with respect to salary incentives, what are your issues with respect to uniforms, washroom or operational issues. I mean, there are zillions of things in the frontline staff, right? We're already running with about 1150 odd stores, mostly COCO and part of them FOFO. So we really do see that, to keep all of them sort of entwined together, it's important to keep hearing from them. So while that sometimes we feel that there's too much hearing that we're doing, and we can't solve for everything, and when people start to raise issues, they also expect it to get solved very quickly, right? So if you keep hearing from them monthly, then it also feels that maybe you're hearing too much, and I don't know if you'll be able to action too much on that. So we're thinking of sort of moving to a quarterly platform, but until now we've been doing a very aggressive monthly follow-up, and I think the good part is that the leadership, Piyush himself is very invested into listening. In fact, all these alerts on Amber that we get saying that 3 people, 4 people, 14 people, Piyush is marked on all emails. So, like he's literally checking all of those by himself. And of course, it's taxing and it's very this thing. So, but that's the kind of involvement and focus that we want to give to listening to people. I think that's the main thing that we're trying to develop over the past few months. I think another question that I had from this group and sort of emanating from the cultural fabric piece that you were talking about is how are all of you working on the entire pride and belongingness piece? So while there is culture and you see that there's a fabric across the organization that you've been able to get in your frontline staff, what is it that you're doing to create like a pride and belongingness in the frontline staff? Because I feel that that's something that while there are people, I mean, we have very good stories that we talk about, and the culture fabric, very similar if you walk into any store across regions. But I do feel that we are missing something on, where are we making the employee feel valued? We've been focusing a lot on customer satisfaction. We've been focusing on a lot on how the customer views us. But what is it that we're doing around,
Maybe I had a same question, and I wanted to pad up a similar question for Anjali.
Okay.
So on values, on customer experience.
So then Anjali,
so maybe a lot of us focus on employee experience. A lot of us focus on customer experience. But somewhere down the line, this is a thing that I've observed, that when it comes to frontline, employee experience is not the most significant pillar based on which investments happen. Whether it is tech, whether it is a lot of other things. Is that true, or should we validate this? Or
I disagree.
yeah,
with
I mean,
that.
is
Even
that
I
true?
disagree.
I disagree with nowadays there is no demarcation between it's a frontline employee or an outsourced employee, especially with us in V-Mart. Even if we have employee outsourced employee close to tune of 3,000, we feel that they are a part of V-Mart family. And almost out of 3,000, we've tried. Now we're trying on a project where we take them on roll, and not on roll at the same designation. So there are departments like, for example, e-commerce, where a pantry boy has been handling a customer care, and now he's moving to logistics. That's between two years time. So when I talk about pride, Seema, it's all about what's in it for me. So what's in it for me from a job growth perspective, from a well-being perspective, obviously from a financial compensation perspective. So and from a learning perspective, I think we focus on all these. And when you said about investments in tech, so we realized that in 2018 when we actually incorporated our HRMS, it was mostly my objective was how the frontline, my associates will get a visibility of his or her attendance in case learning has to be there, or the KPIs if the performance can be, or the appreciation. Most important is the appreciation. At times, the store manager or the regional manager, they're there every time. But what if from us, from the head office, or from the MD, or from any of the leadership team, they get an appreciation, that they completely had their day. And that's we have seen. It's not necessarily that we give them something, but a word of appreciation in a town hall makes a lot of difference for them. So what we have done is, obviously we did give them a mobile app where they can, every month they're self-sufficient to, the basic thing is their attendance, their leave, their salary slip, if they're getting an incentive, how are they getting that incentive? There's small appreciation, how many, and then we create those appreciation cards. A person who's got the maximum appreciation gets a special recognition by the leadership team, or they're called in the head office, and then appreciation. So in town halls we use, every month we have a town hall, and we call it We Heroes, where people have upholded V-Mart values. We actually hear their stories, appreciate them, and then also share with them. So they feel proud that 10,000 employees, when you just appreciate in a bigger forum to them. So that's how.
That's pride.
And in COVID, so we didn't have any difficulty in terms of people were like, because physical training was there in retail. We had a training team, and now how do that? So immediately we already had the feature of learning on the mobile. So the entire workforce, at that time we had 7,000 workforce, had actually every week training sessions were, whether there was product, process, behavior. So there was no break. In fact, there were more trainings that we used to get physically, because the trainer cannot touch in a month the stores that he had, 50 stores, but through the mobile app and from the e-learning modules which we had, they were able to, and that was multilingual languages. So we had no difficulty in that. So now they're used to it. So now with the things coming back to normalcy, so they feel that now the physical training is also happening, the e-learning module is also happening. So they don't feel that, okay, it's only physical or only online. So there's a blend of blended learning program. So they also enjoy at times that during the lunch hour, if we keep it mandated, this is your learning hour or a learning time. So 10 minutes, 15 minutes that we give apart from the classroom sessions. So there's an assessment, and which helps them to, certifications and all, which helps them to grow in their next level of growth path. So
wow, that's a lot.
Technology
is lifetime
actually nowadays.
Absolutely.
And they're all there in social media. Name it any platform. See, these associates, they don't need training to use Facebook or Instagram.
They're born with
I didn't give any training to use,
yes.
but it's just a small voiceover of the PPT, and they have got the hang of it, how to use it, where to see, where to get them assigned. So it's very simple. For them, the technology has to be very simple and
intuitive.
Intuitive. That's it.
Absolutely.
So just to add to that, we on our mobile app, so we have app as named as LAMP, Learning Amplified. So on that, what we have done is, apart from the learning, every individual has their learning journey which is mapped to them. And basis that learning journey, they keep on getting those, the micro learning video bites, which we actually internally we create and we keep on sending them as per their designation, whether it's a pharmacist or a CSA. And they have to complete, certain number of those videos during that time period, and then they appear for the assessments. Even the assessments, what we have done is, there are videos which gets played. And then they answer the questions. So it's not that they have to read, understand, and all. They are watching the video and they are giving it. At the same time, what we have done is, there is a KPI meter for every employee. So on a daily basis, he or she can check what is my performance, and we have set the norms that beyond. So this and this, in between this, if your score is between 50 to 70, then you would be eligible for the next promotion if it is a continuous, So they are aware, it's a transparency. So they have that trust and faith that it is completely dependent on my performance. If my performance is good, then I'll have the opportunity to go ahead in my career. And again, there is a, that structured path and all the edges are given. So if somebody is getting qualified to become a store manager, we have a complete program for them wherein they come, they go through that training program. There is an assessment center, the way Nagesh was saying. We have an assessment center, we evaluate people, then we train them, and then we have a developmental center, and then basis that they're deployed in various stores. Transparency is something which we are able to maintain because of the tech. And if you will say, in fact, tech is more for the front line than the head office team.
Absolutely.
That's what I have seen.
And absolutely, the training modules percentage of completion is more
Yes.
at the front line rather than at the head office.
That's a very resonating word.
Because they've got
voice.
incentives linked to
Presenting elements. I mean, they don't have an option. They know their products through the LMS. So in our KPI meter,
they're so passionate.
they're
to
passionate
grow,
about
actually.
it.
to
So in
learn.
KPI meter, we have built in one component as a learning curiosity.
Yeah.
So whatever were assigned to you, that you have completed,
More.
and plus how many modules you pulled. So that shows your learning curiosity. And the way you were saying that, message from the leaders and all. So we have Ek Shurwaat. So every day in the morning at 8 o'clock, you will receive one video. This is to across the organization. And that would be something which we are launching new or something, some address by some of the leader, what they want to drive and all. But it's there. And every day we have that Ek Shurwaat ka video, which will be, somewhere between 3 to 5 minutes. And then there would be a feedback service, asking that how you liked it, you did not like it, and plus anything else you want to hear from the leaders. So we keep on getting that feedback.
This KPI meter is internally developed or?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
even I was very intrigued to hear about it because it's very difficult, at least in our kind of business with a lot of ups and downs. Daily
So,
KPI meter is quite
So the KPI meter, we have defined the parameters for each and every role. And so that is, so we have a normal sales, then PL, that's the, the promotional products which we have. So premium label products. So there are different parameters which are identified. For every role, there is a weightage which is given to them. It's a backend, it's a very humongous task because there is a complete matrix which we had to develop that, if the score is between this to this, then this much would be the final score and all. And basis that, the numbers get derived. So every day he is able to see कि मेरा PL का कितना हुआ है, normal sales का कितना हुआ है, my customer service मतलब customer interactions कितने थे, CSAT score कितना है, my learning curiosity score कितना है. So he is able to see
the entire
dashboard. And at the same time, so the beautiful thing is the comparative scores which they get, that is between that store only. So it's a fair competition. It's not that top performing store का bottom performing store के साथ वो comparison हो रहा है. So they know that it's between, if everybody
The
had
cohort
the
is defined.
equal opportunity to perform, how I have performed in that cohort.
Raghvendra,
Now we are
any
trying to
innovation?
develop the
Yeah.
KPI meter for the HOD man. That's a big task.
So
Unique roles.
For us in retail, Reliance Retail, the bigger challenge has been the size. So we like onboard about 25,000 people every month. So that's the kind of volume we deal with. Every day about 1,500, 1,200 to 1,500 people get onboarded. So that's the scale at which we have been growing, especially in the last 1.5 to 2 years. So we were less than 100,000 people, and today we are close to 3 lakh people. So that's the journey that we have seen, especially post-pandemic. And if we look at this size and scale, biggest challenge was how do we manage this scale? Humanly, it is not possible, and that's how we kind of strengthen our tech platform to manage this kind of volume. For HR, managing this kind of onboarding itself is unthinkable.
Yeah.
So we made sure that our platform will engage the store manager, the area manager or the cluster managers, the recruiters and HRBP to perform the roles where probably onboarder need not be present everywhere. Or if the candidate itself is not able to upload the details of documents, because we have multiple lines of business. We have Reliance Digital, which is relatively more skilled people on the tech side. We have grocery where the guy even 8th class can come. Maybe he does not even have a smartphone, but he's good, I want to hire him. And for that, we kind of built an assisted app, wherein any of the store person can upload the documents for that person and just get on board. So the guy comes today, gets interviewed, he gets offered later in the day, next morning he's on board. So that's the kind of speed at which we have been operating, and 8 to 10 documents for each person. So you can imagine if 20,000 people, there are 2 lakh documents getting processed. And I tell you, last 2 years, I have not got a single escalation.
Wow.
At the end of the day, or even on the weekends. And none of my team has ever been on the weekends. So
you're saying that your platform is so robust?
Yes. So that is one thing. You need, for us, it was absolutely necessary that we make our product that robust. Second was, for getting onboarded such people, it was one, then getting them embedded into the organization culture, getting them inducted into our kind of processes, our norms, our policies, our do's and don'ts, our ethics and compliance. So we integrated with our Learn and Grow platform, which is our learning platform. We said that these are the mandatory courses that you have to finish in the first 7 days. And that's how all the people, if you look at that, it has become a mandate. And then the escalations keep on getting to the manager.
What kind of adoption are you seeing? Because it's a mandate, I'm sure you've seen.
So that's the reason, because it's a mandate. We achieved around 98% even for the new joiners, and the rest 2% you have to do some kind of.
So basically, you're empowering the reporting manager
Absolutely.
to the level that
He's
performing
the
the
CEO,
task.
he's the HR, he's the owner of that store.
Yeah,
He owns the P&L, he owns the people. So
But to get managers like this, sorry.
no, so if you don't have a manager like that, you're bound to fail.
Correct.
And the thing is that his person will leave if you do not engage him. And in this process, the guy gets handholded, the guy gets engaged with the manager. There is some amount of conversation with the manager, even if the size is large. And it happens consistently across all my 15,000 stores.
So
So
how
what do
have
you
you
do to
given
drive
this?
engagement? What do you do to drive engagement? Because see, the regular day-to-day BAU activities get taken care of by tech.
So,
but how do you drive? So Anjali, like she was mentioning.
every store has got a defined budget for engagement. So, as a, you can say, ritual, you need to do celebrations for the best performer, for the birthday celebrations, for all kind of festivals of that locality, that city or that state. That is ingrained as a part of anybody getting promoted gets celebrated there. So that is within the store, saying that if this store is of X number of people, that budget is there with you. You have the store manager decides, it doesn't get dictated from HR. What HR does is that, is that happening at the store? It's only the compliance level checks that happen at the ER level. So engagement is kind of for that store. And then we have our employee relations officer in each state who kind of periodically visits, gets the pulse on the field, actually physically checks it, whether it is happening or not.
Awesome.
Yeah. Then we use there are a lot of interventions that happen at the central level. How do we make sure that it reaches the store? It reaches, but how do we create a buzz around it so that it reaches faster? So every store, most of our grocery stores and digital stores, they have got radio. And we run our radio spots there. Saying that something new is coming, you do this. If government is coming with a new scheme, which is beneficial for all my ESIC folks, we kind of run those spots. We create it in-house. We make sure that it runs before the store starts and in the lean hours of the store, at the end of the day, when less customers are there, so that all the employees focus on what is the message we send out. And obviously people get SMS, but nobody reads SMS. But
Have you tried WhatsApp integrations?
yeah, WhatsApp integration is there, and there is further enhancements where what we are working on is that we are moving towards making it conversational. Instead of getting one, we get feedback in terms of, and then we do have a bot. So we analyze those queries, what come on the bot, what doesn't get answered, where is the bot breaking. So we do a bot break analysis and figure out, okay, this seems to be a problem. And then we kind of run a dipstick on it, saying that let's see what percentage of people are actually facing this issue, and then we address that issue. So that is there, but we will kind of bring that bot into the WhatsApp integration so that option is even better.
Yeah.
People
That's
have
what
to
we
go
have
to
seen
that.
as, I think WhatsApp is the biggest way of driving adoption.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the white collar space, I think we are seeing teams as the biggest way of driving engagement today. I think the team growth has been tremendous. Like today, I don't think any of you have a Zoom license.
No.
I don't think anyone has a Zoom license. So it's either Google or Teams, right?
If you are on Microsoft Outlook,
It's Google and Teams, right? I mean, Zoom's gone, Blue Jeans is gone, everything's gone. I mean, no one has those licenses. Thanks.
And right, as rightly said, you can't have multiple platforms for your frontline and corporate staff.
It's a single.
It's just one. And depending on the persona, the services or the features are rendered to the user. So if it is a customer service associate, he'll get X number of services. If it's a manager or department manager, he'll get some more additional services. So these are role-based services. So you have one platform, and depending on the nature of business or the kind of a store or the kind of person that is handling that role, you get those services.
It's all in-house developed tools, or is there something that?
All of this credit goes to Hipping and this team. Everything is in-house.
Competition.
We have competition everywhere.
Sitting at the corner of this table.
Yeah. I mean, so that was what I think was competition for cloud in general. The cloud that is getting developed right now, in-house cloud is also getting developed. But always for us, the competition was coming into the market because something's being built with your own hands, right?
Yeah.
How can you take that out? It's
For
your baby.
your real issue.
Yeah, it's your baby. You know the situation the most, and how can some outsider come and solve for it? So I think that was one of our biggest competition. But thanks, Raghvendra.
So what I would like to add is that we have seen a lot of applications coming in the market, but what is really missing in most of the applications, and that is what we have been internally working on, is the intelligence layer on these platforms. So a lot of work which we do or we push or we kind of analyze, a lot of work has to be done by the intelligence layer that you need to put it, whether it is recruiting, whether it is engagement, whether it is, because we kind of get input on a periodic basis, but the feed from the user is coming every moment.
Yeah.
And to analyze every movement is humanly not possible, machines can do it. So now if my user is touching X number of things during the entire day, whether it is work, whether it is HR system, whether it is my learning system, how do I analyze his behavior and then go back to him with what he actually needs in a more personalized way. That is for the individual. Similarly for the manager, why do I need to scan through all my team members and figure out what he or she needs? Instead, the intelligence layer gives me a feedback that ये आदमी के साथ आपको ये करना चाहिए. And then that conversation will become a lot more focused. It will not be kind of कि 2 घंटे का time उसमें 90 minutes exploratory session में चला. So that's the intelligence that we need to get from all these systems. Similarly, recruiting is kind of far lagging in terms of the kind of intelligence we can get because the user is everywhere on the internet. All his social media handles tells about how the guy is. So based on that behavior, you can recommend that this guy is fit for this role. This guy is not good for this role. At least if this much you can give, half the job of the manager is done. Because not every manager
just to tell you this, you build something like this, tomorrow this application will shut because every crawler will get shut today. So it's a privacy breach.
No, I'm not,
so crawlers will get shut.
So I'm not saying all of that. All I'm saying is you kind of do not skim the areas where he is. But what if when he hits your system and say that I allow you to fetch my data from LinkedIn or I allow you to fetch my data from Facebook. That's the thing that you need to tap because most of the guys will
that I think happens, but it's
that happens. I'm not saying that you kind of infringe on the privacy.
Yeah, but again, so there are different schools of thought. But again, when it is API driven, you can't forge it.
So it is API driven. So now he gives access to my LinkedIn. I know his connections. I know his behavior. I know what is the.
But Raghvendra, at the level at which you would be
would
hiring
you need
people,
to know
would you
LinkedIn?
have those people on LinkedIn? And, I mean, I'm imagining it's absolutely grassroots level that you are.
They are all on
I'll add to Richa's point.
They are all on Facebook.
Richa, I'll add to your point. How many people actually come through ATS in the frontline, right? Application tracking system doesn't get used.
Very
It is only that you give them an offer letter, they join, they upload their documents and they come in, right? Even ATS, there will be hardly enough information about them.
There are people who come.
But what percentage? Like 10% of the entire frontline would have possibly a LinkedIn account.
So if you look at the trend,
not even 10%.
Not even 10.
So
if you look at the trend, it is growing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most of the applications that we run for every, I'll call it blue collar for the lack of a better word, it's all on either their personal email IDs or OTPs.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So I think for them, we don't even have enough data.
No, I'm really, I must appreciate the kind of technology use he's talking about because
that is
for
huge.
me to even get my LFS, which is the large format employees, to get their attendance in order, like it has to be driven by me that dude, you've got to do it. That is the kind because they are not allowed
You
phones
need
on the
to
floor.
change the way. So like for my facilities like warehouses, there you get a lot of people who do not use mobile phone.
Correct.
Or saying that the moment you enter the facility, at the main entrance you need to surrender your
Your
mobile
phone,
phone.
yeah, exactly. Same in
So-
departmental
So what
stores.
you need to do is that you need to fit a device which will just capture your attendance, period. You don't have to do anything. You just do a walk-in
Yeah, it has to
attendance.
be built. Yeah.
So we have a facial recognition
But we
data.
can't do that for LFS, no, because
So what
it's in
she's
shoppers
talking,
and
yeah,
I'm talking
for
about
LFS.
large format. Like our counters in large format stores, like shoppers and lifestyle and central and all those earlier.
So SIS.
The
SIS.
Yeah.
So you can do a mobile punch.
Yeah, you can do those.
There's a lot of way people tend to fudge it. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
know all of
cannot-
that.
You
So
can have a
what
facial
we-
recognition.
Yes,
data.
I'm working on it. I'm just trying to say that 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 is the level. And on that, when he's saying that without HR people are doing onboarding, that's like a huge, like I'm suddenly feeling like I'm below poverty line or something. Because I'm still grappling with those basic problems which have to be very sensitive.
For me, 100% of the people are on attendance app.
Yeah, even for us.
Not your
And it's on
during
facial
COVID
recognition.
also, we
It's
had
on
a
facial
mobile
recognition.
punch.
It is on facial recognition.
It's
And
on
we
facial
restricted the
recognition.
area.
It's on
Yeah,
facial
that is there.
recognition. It is on geofence.
Geotag
So,
is there.
so geotag and geofence can be
Yeah.
only tagged to with facial recognition. When
Correct.
you're with your same face, you can't give the phone to Haneesh to mark my
Correct,
address.
correct. So
So
that's what
that
I'm
is
saying.
where
So that
it's
is
a
the kind
personal
of things I'm
device.
streamlining now, and he has gone ahead and onboarded
So
me.
when pandemic started, we already had that application. The challenge was that how do we build in the hybrid workforce into it. So then we allowed saying that okay, you can also mark from the geofence location where you work. We will also allow you to punch from any other location where you have been designated to go on specific days. Because when pandemic started saying that okay, Andheri East will get closed, Andheri West is open. So the guy who used to work in Andheri East, so I said for these 3 days to go there.
Yeah.
So we allowed him to mark from multiple stores. We also allowed him to work marking from home. For example, a store is open only for 4 hours. So marking from store, mark out from his home. But mark out from home location will be validated by the manager so that if he installs that is not.
And this system is also in-house.
Yeah.
Can I vote you?
In fact,
We also
Richa,
did the same thing,
Yeah.
Richa. We also
We
did
got
the
it on
same
camera, Richa.
you will have to wait for some time. Like I belong to JPL Geo Platforms Limited. So all these applications are being built by Geo Platforms, and because of our partnership with Google and all, we will be coming out with a market product
Okay.
for these
We're
kind
all
of
waiting.
attendance apps.
Rudra.
So he's created his own pitch. Rudra, you are doing it for moderation.
No, that's absolutely fine. See, there are times where you know that you can't compete with some people, so then you choose. There is no way that you
See, the pandemic has helped us to
That's Reliance.
100% adoption of this mobile app. We were
You
pushing.
went on a shopping spree in pandemic, no? I mean,
Seriously?
any place, I think Milk
Yeah.
Basket,
You need
Tsunami, Urban Ladder, everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
19 of them.
Yes, we are worried. The bunch of them are our customers.
The next time you meet might not be sent.
Exactly. So I think they bought 23 companies at that period of time. Like 12 of them were our customers.
Yeah. The only people buying were there.
Yeah. I don't know. There was no retail therapy at that point. This is the only thing. But Richa, I think what would you like technology to solve for you as the next big problem that you see?
Correct. So I think largely we've been discussing it during the day, and it is just obvious that that is my biggest challenge too. I think in a setup where I am especially belonging to a fashion house where I have the production and I have the designers, which is absolutely young people, and I have stores which are like about 1,800 people. And of course, not 3 lakhs. So, but considering the demographic of the entire workforce, I think now that we are entering into a hybrid workspace, to be able to put a hand on heart and say that as a HR professional, I can force or drive my store staff to be coming to the stores while I give the other flexibility to my corporate office, but ask my production people to be there. Those kind of decisions to be made with a sense of fairness and take help from technology to be able to still maintain that engagement with each of them. You know, this whole piece that everybody has been posing since morning about driving culture in a place where work from home. I like the answer that I got from the panel that time that, people are punctual and all. But at the same time, in a place like ours where there's so much diversity, like see for someone like a TCS or, for anyone else where there are lakhs of people on the same thing, it's different. But for us, our corporate office, our production is in the same building, right? Us two people come very often and they visit us because of the constant learning, trainings that they go through. So to be able to have a different set of rules for everyone and still maintain that, employee satisfaction or the sense of fairness, I think that is my biggest challenge. And I'm really looking forward to some, intelligence or some platform which would help me build that uniformity where right from my store to my production to my corporate, everybody feels that they are treated well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's what everyone wants, right? In the retail setup, I think it is not painting it with the same brush for everyone. That is very important. And I think what Raghvendra was saying, or what we also try and do, is not build a system which runs on stick philosophy. It can be very different,
Flexible.
very
Actually,
flexible.
What personalized?
Yeah, personalized, customized. There's no
Customized.
one size
Yeah,
fits
one
all.
size fits all doesn't
Yeah.
work anymore.
You know, for us now, at times for a store manager or assistant, the rules and the flexibility of the features are very different versus the warehouse, versus the
Absolutely.
corporate staff, versus
It's the same.
associates. So it has to be so flexible.
Omnichannel, digital is
Omnichannel,
different.
digital. So
Yeah.
nowadays the policies also, it's not like leave policy across for
It
all.
does not happen,
We
it's
have to be very flexible first of, and then the first that we and then the
Yeah, I mean that is a
And
very
that's
good
how
point,
we-
that you have to be flexible
That's
as an
how you have
organization
to be.
first, and
Yeah.
then after that I think the technology will also be an enabler. I think technology is not the end all and be all for this. I think if the organization decides that I'll bring that flexibility, the technology will follow.
But have that common thread that goes along, which the technology should help. We all are talking about that, but unless if we are going to have such diverse work arrangements for people, there has to be something stronger in terms of an interface. Is what I feel.
Fair point. Haneesh, if I have a question for you, how do you justify internally when you are seated with other CXOs in the organization that you need intervention of tech and investment in tech? What are some of the levers that you use to bring more monies to the tech intervention? And I'm not talking their kind of money, but 3 lakh people, own systems, I'm pretty
It's
sure.
not even some of us.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, for an organization like you.
So, Apollo Pharmacies, as of now, today, we have got 40,000 employees, all on road, and 5,000 stores. So my stores are there. I think I was speaking in the morning also, from deep jungle in Tripura to Andaman. And my store formats are not like Reliance, where I accommodate some 500, 600 people. It's basically 3 or 4 people, or 5 people in case it's a 24 operations. Yeah. So that's where my tech comes into picture, right? I can't go to Tripura and do a training program for them. So tech plays a very important role for me here in that. So two things is which basically we take care of is basically induction. Recently, everything for us revolves around Pratap Reddy. So he is our founder, and his vision is what the which drives all the Apollo Group companies, including Apollo Pharmacies. So we started in the year 1983 with the mission that we should provide genuine medicines. Because at that point of time there were so many adulterated medicines being given to Indian stores, right? So that was the basis on which we ran. So induction plays a very important role for me. So because it's not a 9 to 5 retailing job, I am saving the life of a customer. So that's a purpose we drive on a regular basis during our induction. So it's not a job which basically you have to sell some grocery. It's basically selling medicines. So that gets into their philosophy the day they get out of the NST, New Hire Induction Program. That's where tech is also playing a role, because earlier we did not have this kind of quick growth. We were only limited to tier 1 cities and tier 2 cities. Now that we have gone even to the village level, so tech will have to play a role, and that's why we have developed a learning app called Gurukul, which basically takes care of all the inductions. And second thing, what usually is a constraint for us where technology is playing a big role is hiring. Because she will also agree with me that I have to recruit from that region, because pharmacist license have to be
transferring licenses are
so pharmacist, if I am opening a store in for example, High-Tech City in Hyderabad, I need to get a pharmacist who is domiciled in High-Tech City. Or else I not get my. Yeah. So Think about my challenge when I have to open a store in Gujarat and some Bhuj or something. I have to find out a pharmacist there. So it's very difficult for me. I can't do it physically like going.
that state. Yeah.
He needs
State-wise.
from that state now.
Yeah.
From
Or
the state.
transferring is very difficult. With the current laws what we have, transferring, it can't be like I hire somebody from one part of India and take him to that place and
So how
Even
do you get-
Maharashtra, Goa is also not
Yes.
allowed.
Yes.
It's treated as two different states.
So that's also
So
anarchy.
how does technology?
Technology
Yeah.
helped my question.
So that's why we bought this virtual hiring platform where people can post their candidature from any part of India. We have made store specific. For example, if I have a store in one part of Gujarat, so we have mentioned that store. So if he happens to be in that domicile area, so he applies for that store.
And how does this person get to know?
That's then VSP. So you have to just you have to give a missed call, or wherever we go, we put a banner there that we are hiring. So from there,
So maybe
he
a
picks
QR
up
code
the
or something. Yeah,
picks up the number. He gives a missed call. From there, the link is sent to him.
Got it.
So that's where technologies are playing a role. So for example, if I'm opening a store in Bhuj, so that guy applies well before 45 days before the store opens, and I ensure that, and I have to get the license endorsed 1 month before the store opening. So everything is revolving around it. Now that we have reached to that scale where we can't physically go there, I think technology is going to play a big role. We have not reached to that level, but yes, we have started the work. We have started the journey, but technology can even bring a lot of more advancement into this.
So how do you justify that you need that kind of investments when it comes to technology? How does that happen internally? Because you don't get an ROI straight away from this, right? How do you say
So
that?
if I don't open my store on time, obviously,
It's an impact.
yeah.
Right.
So
45 days is the timeline. So is the time the registration of the store happens. Till the opening of the store, you have that 45 to 60 days time. If I'm not able to, if HR is not able to provide the required manpower,
Yeah.
they won't be able to open up the store,
and
right?
second is upskilling, right? So now that I've inducted a guy, it's not like any other grocery where I give 1 kg sugar in place of 1 kg of salt. And if I give a wrong medicine to that guy, he will really will understand the repercussions of it. Dosage, everything has to be seen. So he has to have a complete understanding of reading the prescription. You know how the prescription is in India. So
worse than my
Not only stores, even the warehouse needs to have a pharmacist license.
Yeah.
Yes.
it's
It's not a regulation.
And many warehouses are in
Many
remote
ways.
areas where pharmacists are not available.
Yeah.
So that's where the bigger challenge is.
And just to add to that, the pandemic has played a very bad role in this because the Karnataka government, being very strict on the education, they did not conduct the exams for 2 years because they said that we will not conduct any virtual exams. We don't.
So you
even
don't
have
have
all-
to.
you don't have-
So
you don't have a pool. You don't have
Yeah.
that pool only.
But if we
Very
talk
good.
about the talent pool and what you have just given the statistics in terms of 3 billion going ahead to what?
25. Sorry, it was a very interesting discussion. I had to leave.
I'm saying you can
Stay in touch.
still wait for another 15 minutes and go if you get your cab. Yeah, I don't think 7 o'clock is.
अरे नहीं यार.
We have horrible traffic now.
Even
I did not take a chance.
Don't take risk.
When
is your flight? What time is
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. You are already late. 7:30.
Rudra.
Yeah.
Just
So I wanted to.
5 minutes.
Yeah, maybe one question which I had. Maybe I'll throw this open. Like, how do you, from HR tech to measuring productivity, because productivity is purely business numbers, how do you make a mixture of these two together? From productivity to employment, and how do you get the productivity numbers measured, tracked, enhanced, all of these things?
I already explained you
KPIs.
KPI
Just
meter.
take some kick-ass role there.
We
Exactly.
also do that monthly check-in. So you know actually gone are the days with annual appraisal, year-end and so now if today also I can do a daily check-in also if against my KPI. If I've done something, so we have a KPI, a goal, we have a milestone, and we have an effort. So whatever efforts a person is putting across to achieve that outcome of the goal, he or she can go and do a check-in. So end of the day, end of the month, a manager and an employee, it's all about transparency. So people who are doing that effort and achieving their KPIs, so there's a dashboard completely, and it's all on mobile app. It's all on mobile app. Then the technology is very easy. So at the end of the year, there's no KPI given, a manual Excel sheet given to a store manager who fills. And everything, the sales data or the EBITDA or any business numbers can now be uploaded to the KPI against the KPI. So there are behavioral, there are business KPIs. I think a combination of that helps measuring the productivity charter. And then centrally we don't, we actually control the central data. At times the sales numbers are different for different regions. So what we have done is we used to face that somebody is putting a different number at the store and we have a different number.
Yeah.
So the financial planning team, they give us the Excel, we upload it, and then that solves the problem of individual employee. The employee has to just do a check-in of the effort, and once he or she has used that. So that helps completely driving the productivity against the business, and that's what the leadership team or the manager wants. They don't want to see there's a minimum weightage of training or the behavior, but they want that what's the sale per employee, what's the sales, so the dashboard.
So those things get tracked on a regular basis.
So just to add on to her, we do it on a daily basis. So 9, 10:30, the entire leadership gets on to how the entire country has done, how the region has done, how the stores have done. So all the 650 stores in the country and national and international, so it gets tracked every day on a daily basis. And it is completely automated. What happens at my store on a real-time basis, my central team gets to know that. And at night 10:30, we get 4 mailers with an analysis. So it's a daily tracking mechanism. We do not have to wait to know what business we have done on day 1 or day 2. It doesn't stop. So it is a continuous process. We get it on. So we run on a platform called Genesis, and the reports come on a daily basis. So
we also use Genesis, but we've integrated with Tableau. That Tableau helps to.
But is this integrated to your HRMS also? The HR data also flows in terms of attendance.
I get approval for that also, because unless you integrate that, so end of the day, store manager, regional manager, ZPH, I can't have those two separate systems. We also need to. Talking about productivity, unless and until we have business KPIs integrated with the behavioral KPIs, you would not be able to drive.
So the KPI meter which I mentioned, so on that actually the coaching also happens. So if my KPI meter scores are low on CSAT, automatically I get pushed those videos, and so that I can work on that.
Work on those tools.
And also the entire appraisal happens basis the KPI meter scores.
So
we actually tell them that if your scores are above this consistently, then and you are eligible for any of the IJP it's a DAWA tool. So you ask for it that I'm eligible for the next level position. Now you tell us. So that's how actually we keep on getting the request from.
Interesting.
So we have gone ahead one step. We are here talking about our employees, our focus stores. We have moved one step forward to create a scorecard for our franchisees also. So we call it a franchisee relationship scorecard, which has got business, people. So people aspect is also one of the major weightage which is there with them. So and it is tracked on a monthly basis. It gets circulated, and we rate our franchisees accordingly. And the business also gets rotated accordingly. So, for example, this scorecard also is responsible for example, if one of my franchisee wants to open up another store, we would look at the past history. So that brings our integrity, so our partners also know the vision and mission of the organization. So that the entire family runs through a similar platform or a similar way.
I think it's a similar thing in HOADL, where the daily sales are tracked, but what piece is missing is the entire integration with HR. So I think that's something that will have to be focused on, because this is fantastic what you were talking about. I don't know about it happening in luxury fashion.
I think this is good. I think we budgeted for only 45 minutes. I think we got an hour.
Glad that you were sitting separately. Otherwise, there would be
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
But it is
Thank
really
you
a very
everyone.
good.
Thank you everyone.
Yes.
Thank you. That's a lot of learning.
Yeah. Everyone is on that email.
Take your number.
Ruthless too much.
Can I give you?
Now that's learning.
Is it over?
Hi.
If they can do a sentiment analysis for admission, sir.